were good till 19th when I received the joining letter. Now I'm preparing. I'm now have to prepare super fast for everything. But I did the documentations earlier, and people are now disturbed with that thing. I have done with my documentation.
Chalo, that's good. And so reporting is on?
Reporting is on 30th, sir.
30th Jan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, IMA, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Chalo, good. Welcome, first of all, Himanshu, and congratulations on your selection, SSB recommendation, and finally making it in the merit.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So this is for the TGC, right?
No, sir. UPSC CDS entry.
UPSC CDS entry. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So how's been the journey? How did it get started? Interest in the armed forces, Army, Air Force, whatever it is. Tell us something about that.
Sir, I had an inclination of becoming a pilot since class 10th. So I used to go to play basketball, and there were a few officers. My father was posted in 5-wing Air Force Station, Kalaikunda. From there on, it was at that time, it was the base of MiG-27. So few pilots used to come and play basketball there. So the fitness, the way they used to talk to each other about their lifestyle, and the satisfaction of their life, that pretty much attracted me. So I started preparing for NDA, and that's why I took the science stream. But unfortunately, I couldn't clear NDA exam. There was lack of preparation, and also my weak maths that didn't get me the good results. But as soon as I came in engineering, I took engineering just because, so that I can have much more branches to get into defense services. Now coming to the end of my 3rd and 4th year, I started preparing from Unacademy for the written process, but I didn't at starting give time to SSB. I cleared all my exams after the graduation, and the first SSB that I went for on 21st of January was first day of SSB. Last year, 21st January, and I got screened out. I was not much prepared. I prepared like for 10 days, 12 days, and I just went for SSB. That resulted pretty bad. Then after that, I came to know that there are SSB classes also going on Unacademy. So I joined you in the month of February, March. I joined you in March, sir. In the March, your course started, and even after your course, also taking course from Sanjay sir, it didn't help me. It didn't help me in the coming SSB because I couldn't implement it rightly as you taught us. So that also resulted bad. I got screened out again for the CDS OTI entry, and in Allahabad 18 SSB. After that, I got one conference out from Mysore, and after that I got recommended in coming ICG, Coast Guard select CGSB, and then in 22 SSB Bhopal for IM.
Right. So the inspiration comes from being from the defense background, right? Fathers in the Air Force.
Yes, sir.
So that is, it is quite natural in most of the cases. Right. Now, coming specifically to your experience, you've been screened out, you've been conferenced out. So how did it go differently? Obviously, you were aware of the procedures, etc. So what did you do to perhaps succeed this time? Was there something different that you did, or it was just that, it was a gradual progress?
So, sir, when I started your courses, what I explored was that you were making us more confident by taking our narration. We could tell our stories in front of the people who are in the class. While in the class, they could rate a story. They could say that how good our story is in their eyes. And that is how our good impression comes in a group when we go for a GD in PPDT or any other GD in the SSB. So by this, I gained confidence. But what I was lacking was cooperation. The group that we students of that we have made on WhatsApp, we participated on the very good. I was not very participative. I was not ready to hear the others' point of view. that resulted in my screen out. I put that into positively into my consideration. After that, I worked on it, also participated in group activities with groups on Telegram, with our group on WhatsApp, which resulted into improvement of my cooperation. I started listening to the people, putting their points into consideration, and because of which, in the other 3 SSBs which I got screened in, I was points. I could be nominated as the common narrator of the story, and that resulted pretty good.
So that practice has helped, right?
Yes, sir. Surely helps.
Right. And as far as the stage 2 is concerned.
Yes, sir. As far as the stage 2 is concerned, sir, building up stories where I will tell you, sir, about my first AFSB. I saw a picture. I was so much manipulated by the ideas that I have seen on internet that I was not able to write a good story. And what I did was I didn't observe the picture. I ignored the character of the picture and wrote my own story on it. So right now, when I see that what story I have written in my first SSB, I feel like I was totally preconceived. And that's what the same I think they would have felt, because I was ignoring characters. I was not writing about every character, not emotions were in the story. It was like superficial story. So it didn't have anything, that story. But once I came into the class, when you used to listen our stories in the class, when the people started rating our stories, that how was narration, how was the confidence, how was the content, is it matching with the picture, this helped us a lot to improve. Because once people started saying that this was the weakness, we start working on it. Not only us, but you, every student that came in the class helped me to build good stories. And eventually the story started building good, but it required a lot of practice. Similar for VAT and SRTs.
Okay. Now, what about the other technique, right? As far as the GT is concerned, interview is concerned. So how did you specifically prepare for that, or yeah, your experience?
Sir, so I will tell you, sir, somewhere in January, at this time, you took my PIQ analysis on YouTube, I remember. And it was so horrible. I was not filling up the blanks. I didn't fill up the year of my 10th passing and year of my 12th passing. It was a very weak GD. I didn't know why is my father's surname and my surname are different. There were very few things that they were not minute things, but missing out those things could eventually give me a big loss. And that's what you did in PIQ analysis, and I was able to improve it for my coming SSB. It's on other part, I got screened out, but I knew how to fill PIQ. I was so weak, I couldn't even fill a PIQ, and even after graduation. So what I did, sir, everything that you told me on YouTube, why my marks came less, what was the reason for that, I prepared for it. This came for your CIQ sessions that you did. I could prepare well in advance for what questions could be asked, and by that I could also see the few cross questions coming to me after the PIQ analysis you did. So I prepared for them. There were a few questions that can be very dynamic and randomly asked, but I was 60% prepared for the interview. In my Mysore SSB, I did very good in my interview part, because I was prepared. I was prepared for, before even the Allahabad SSB, I was prepared for my interview part. But what I did was I was giving kind of engineered answers. It was like, even sir wasn't asking me, I used to start to tell him those answers. So in this way it became bad, but I was quick in analyzing this mistake also, that I improved in the Coast Guard SSB, and I used to listen to his questions carefully. There were few of the questions that I missed out, but I listened to his questions carefully and then answered. Coming to the GTO part, in the GTO part, what we used to do, we used to analyze the structures, what could be there, the basic fundamentals of how to put a loop. But what I saw in Mysore, I was not cooperative on ground. What I used to do, it was like, I want to limelight myself. So I started running in forward, pushing the team behind, not worrying about the team, rather thinking about my plan and how to get elevated, leveraged in front of the GTO. That proved immensely wrong, and I got confidence out. So what I thought, that in the next SSBs, well, the Coast Guard SSB don't have that much GTO, 9 tasks, there are only 3 tasks. But in the in the Army SSB, I had those tasks. But this time I was quite ready of what to do and what not to repeat. So what I did, I used to do the similar process what I do in GD, like listening to the people, what they're trying to do, and not only just putting the plans or executing them, also helping others to execute, listening to their plans more carefully. And other things like what includes your stamina or the small teamwork, they were quite efficient because I was practicing those in the ground and I was always working for my fitness. So all in all, things got well.
So basically, the difference that you're trying to, highlight is, working as a team, as a part of the team, rather than working more of an individual in an individual capacity.
Yes, sir, exactly.
That is there. Sometimes, in face of competition, one tends to do that. However, maturity lies in being a part of the group and realizing that unless the team succeeds, you don't succeed. I mean, that
Right,
is
sir.
something that, of course, we do keep highlighting this. And some people, or initially, like I said, people miss out on this, and they're drawn in by that, competitive
Yes, sir.
environment, right? कि चलो ठीक है, मेरे को किसी तरह से दिखाना है. Yeah, so that is, I'm sure, these things have helped you. So what is it that you would like to advise the listeners or those who are watching this program? Any specific tips for those who are absolutely freshers, or those, of course, there are plenty of repeaters these days. Right? In fact, there are more repeaters and then freshers.
Yes, sir. So, sir, what I've observed, I I I will frankly say that I have practiced more than 300, 400 TAT stories or VAT or everything in psychology. I've practiced more than 300 times. But what after reaching a certain level of practice, what I've analyzed, sir, it's much what not more what you are thinking about the picture. It's much more important that you consume the whole picture that the picture is giving you, consuming that idea, consuming every detail of the portion. Like, sir, I want to give an example. There is a very common picture in TAT stories when a boy is sitting and a book is opening in front of him. This also came in my Bhopal SSB. So what I saw every time I used to write a story like that boy is practicing for something. Tomorrow is a cultural program. Also in a week there is an exam, and I used to write a story that he is also preparing for it. He is also preparing for the cultural program, and he'll go and give it. But this time, what I thought, I saw the book, and in the book there were a few triangles made. So I deliberately observed the picture, and the story that I wrote this time was that the picture is the student is studying about the congruency of the triangle, and my whole story kept revolving around that. So what I wrote, that he took help of the people good with maths in the class. He took help of the teacher to solve the problem of his problems he is getting in maths, or the congruency of triangles in that topic, and my whole story revolved around that. So it looked pretty more my maths is also weak, so this is exact idea that I could put with the picture. So this is what I think the picture, what is picture trying to give you, you should consume it completely, and then you will eventually land up making good stories.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like, what I've also been saying in the classes, that you observe very minutely, what is there in the picture, right? Because,
Yes,
the minor details sometimes, they reveal a lot, or if you omit them. So observing the picture carefully and then, making a story which totally relates to that picture and the characters,
yes,
like you realized in your PPDT earlier, right? Making the characters count in your story rather
yes,
than just let them be there, right?
or taking out any character out of the story.
Yeah, yeah. So those who are the significant contributors to your story.
Yes, sir.
Uh, as far as the GT is concerned, anything else, anything that you'd like to mention or advise specifically
Sir,
to
in
the
GT,
repeaters?
I took advice from one of my series. He was recommended for CDS entry. He was rank 9. He also used to came on our class. Aman Saluja was his name. So he advised me. He met me in Coast Guard SSB, and we both got recommended there. So in medicals, we used to spend a lot of time. So I used to ask him that what is the mistake that I can make, because my SSB was approaching. that Bhopal IMA SSB. So I used to ask him that what should I do and what should I avoid in GTO. So we had long discussions on it. His few of his things I liked very much. That what he used to say, that if you are not able to complete any task, you are missing out with the group. But what's important is to stay with the group. Your idea should not help yourself, but it will count more if it helps the other members of your group. Even one line he used to say, sir, I'll say, even if standing quietly in the group is your duty at that time, you should do it without thinking that you are not saying a word and it won't help the group. So if your duty is to stand quietly and let the others pass because they have a better idea and they are executing well, so you should follow them, because not becoming leader is always important. Sometimes it's important to follow the group, but important is to stay with the group. And these all ideas I implemented in the group. Running and putting yourself in limelight is not a good thing, but what's good is standing with your members and thinking about a plan, because if you go and run in the limelight, you won't have that extra second or extra 2 seconds. But if you are in a group and discussing with your group like what to do, what not to, then you will have an extra second or 2 seconds to think about the plan and execute it better. That's what I'd like to advise.
Yeah, no, I mean, see, the thing is, it works differently for different people. Some people are confident, they have a plan of action, and when they take that lead, they are able to run through with their plan.
Right, sir.
Whereas most of the people, or many of the people, just wanting to be the first one to, jump into the fray
without a plan,
they run out of ideas after some time. So it should not be, when you take take a plunge into this, you take that first step, you should have some plan in mind, rather than just jumping into the fray without having much of ideas. So yeah, that is something which is pretty common, and I mean, you don't really impress anybody with this, right? So that is fine. Then as far the interview is concerned, you told me about preparing well for the interview, right? So being aware of the your own life story, that is very important. What is equally important here I must highlight, and for the viewers, that you need to be careful in how you respond to the questions. Be alert to what is being asked, the sequence in which it is being asked, right? So everyone knows his story, but कई बार क्या होता है कि आपने वो चीजें अपने बारे में पूरी याद कर ली हैं, और without listening to the order in which it's been asked, you keep on rambling out that whole story.
Yes.
So that is where little bit of confusion does take place, and it gives a poor impression about the candidate. कि वो रट के चीजें आ रहे हैं, or he's not listening to what is being asked, right? So I mean, there is nothing to mug up as far as your life is concerned. You need to be aware of that, and you can present it as desired.
Yes, sir.
The manner in which it is asked, उस तरह से respond कर सकते हो. But yes, by and large, you should know, like we talk about the DDY course, knowing yourself, how you have achieved things, and because of what reasons have you been able to achieve those things.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to mention about the conference?
Yes, sir. In the conference, my conference in the Mysore SSB, I was conference out there. So my conference started. I went in the room and I was asked 3 questions, I think. One of the questions was that your father has now retired as a honorary flying officer. How will he feel that if you get into the services as a commissioned officer? So I told him answer that he will be proud, and added up something that I always desired to be like this. And after that, he asked me that how do you think you will rate yourself in all the tasks? So I was not actually very sure, because it was just the 5th day. We were thinking that what went right, what went wrong. So I said that I think my GT was not very good. So he started saying, okay, rate yourself out of 100 in GT. So I said, sir, somewhere in 70s, and so on. And that common questions that how you stay, and those things were asked to me in the conference. My conference that went for a longer time was in the Coast Guard. They asked me few SRTs, nearly 5 to 6 SRTs. So they asked me that in SRT, the first question that was asked to me that you are traveling in a train, you have forgotten your documents. What will you do now? How will you take out the documents? Your documents have been stolen and train is just about to depart in 1 minute. After that, he added, a lady is sitting with you, she's pregnant and she's having the labor pain. How will you help her if you are standing on a station? Similarly, he asked a question that your friend is going to, is you and your friend is going to a beach and your friend is asking to go in deep inside the beach when the tides are very high. So what will you do in this case? And he tried to add up a few more situations in the similar questions. So there were nearly 5-6 situations in my SRT. Then he also asked the similar questions, and then my conference there went on for 20 minutes, I think, in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
Coming to the SSB of coming to the conference of this 22 SSB Bhopal, the conference started. He just asked me a very few questions. How will you rate yourself in this? The similar question that was asked in the Air Force SSB. This time I was very happy with my performance, so I rated myself in every of them 4.5. So he asked me few of the games that I played. So the conference went very small, 2-3 minutes the conference went, and I just came out of the conference.
Okay, fine. So congratulations, ultimately, Himanshu, for making it in IMA.
Thank
you. As you said, you also appeared for Coast Guard and also cleared the Coast Guard SSB.
Yes,
right?
sir.